We've got a lot to discuss today. Maybe it's more of a get it all out in the open type of video because there are several topics that need to be clarified and a few community comments that need to be addressed. My name is LtBuzzLitebeer and welcome to my YouTube channel. And I'm going to keep the intro short on this one because, like I said, we've got a lot to discuss. In case you aren't yet a subscriber, please take a moment to smash that big, beautiful sub button and make sure to ring the bell to stay up to date on all things Division related. Let's go. So let's talk Heartbreaker, or as some of you already named it, Heartbroken. And I posted some of my thoughts on this gear set in my last Division 2 video, but today I wanted to drill down a bit further and add on some more observations. First off, my Heartbreaker build, pre-nerf to post-nerf, lost about 23% of its overall damage output, and that's an undeniable fact. But what I did not state in my last video, probably because it was unscripted and I just got way off topic anyways, what I did not say were my overall impressions to those Heartbreaker changes. I did state that it was a sad day for Heartbreaker, but I didn't get into the evidence. And this brings me to point number one that I wanted to now clarify. Now, compared to all other gear sets in the game, was Heartbreaker pre-nerf pushing out more damage? And of course that's an emphatic yes. And I don't think anyone within the community could supply evidence to the contrary. Now, based on that huge difference in damage output, did Heartbreaker need to be adjusted to be more in line with other gear sets in the game? Again, based on the evidence and those huge discrepancies in damage output, logic would say yes. But I'm going to add on some more additional thoughts in just a moment. But here's where I'm going to drop in some of the receipts when it comes to Heartbreaker. We knew this gear set was incredibly powerful the very first time we got to equip it during the PTS Phase 2. Seemingly thousands of videos instantly sprung up with insane damage in the title or this is the new meta. Content was popping up all over the place about this insane new gear set. Twitter was buzzing, no pun intended, and naturally based on previous actions taken against strong gear sets, the community started asking the question, was Heartbreaker here to stay? There was even this post over on the official Ubisoft forums during Phase 2 of the PTS asking, is Heartbreaker too powerful? Not an indirect question in the least, and neither is this response from the dev team. They were happy with what Heartbreaker added to the game and had no plans to change it anytime soon, and to quote them on the last bit here, quote, "We have looked at the conversation on the efficiency of the gear set and so far we are satisfied with where it has landed." Now, what made Heartbreaker so awesome to equip and use was the fact that it was a damage stacking gear set that also tacked on bonus armor. It really was the best of both worlds, and for a majority of the player base, it was really fun to use and made us, for once, feel overly powerful in the Division 2, and in the end, despite all the outlier graphs and power deltas, isn't playing a game just about having fun? Ultimately, the issues were diagnosed and exposed by other community members as to how the internal maths were working for Heartbreaker. It was building multiplicative damage stacks and then multiplying them back against themselves. So it was multiplying against ever larger and larger numbers. By the way, that's just going to be the short form answer. Let's leave it at that. And in the end, instead of 100% multiplicative damage, as the chess piece talent doesn't read, although that's how it works, it was buffing your damage up by 170.5%, which was clearly not the intended effect. As I've said, it made the gear set incredibly powerful, and in turn, that made it really fun to use, and it's strange how those two concepts seem to play off of each other, right? Anyways, since that Phase 2 PTS statement, there have been numerous questions aimed at Heartbreaker and responses given by the dev team that there were no plans to meddle with Heartbreaker. Now, just throwing in my own thoughts here, and I actually began thinking that if they were truly intending to leave Heartbreaker at its pre-nerf point, almost the new power delta standard for gear sets, then maybe, just maybe, they had plans to then readjust every other gear set in the game to then match up with Heartbreaker. Maybe we were entering into a new phase in the Division 2's life cycle where the dev team came to the conclusion that the game was never intended for the esports arena and therefore could throw out all the preconceived graphs and damage formulas, give us a ton of extra powerful gear and weapons, and let us finally get on par with how hard the NPCs hit in this game. Maybe we were finally going to be able to counter the percentage-based damage versus our own agent's armor and, not get ripped up by a red bar on heroic difficulty. And then last Tuesday hit. We got that delayed Fairview Crew apparel event, but then players started to notice that their Heartbreaker builds weren't hitting anywhere close to where they were prior to last Tuesday's maintenance. They of course took to Twitter asking if Heartbreaker had been hit with a stealth nerf, to which Yannick actually responded, yes, we're going to add it to the patch notes. We changed the stacks on Heartbreaker to be additive instead of multiplicative, which was not the intended behavior. Okay, so many different angles to dissect here, and before I begin, thank you to Yannick for actually taking the time to acknowledge this, but let's start off with these issues. Number one is the fact that the Division community has been posting and asking about this enormous strength of Heartbreaker ever since April and PTS Phase 2, and remember it was actually disabled for PTS Phase 3 as Heartbreaker caused the game to crash. But still, the evidence has been out there for months, to which we received the official Ubiform rebuke of the community concerns, telling us that they had looked at the efficiency of the set and were happy with what it was adding to the game. There were also many public discussions and responses on Twitter and Reddit confirming the overwhelming strength of Heartbreaker and no intentions to adjust it. So why this sudden shift? Why? Last Tuesday, out of the blue, did it all of a sudden get hit with a sizable damage nerf? Needed or not needed is not the question here, as I've already stated that Heartbreaker was significantly stronger than all other gear sets, and in that context, it was justified to adjust downwards. But again, the question is, why this complete 180 on how Heartbreaker was affecting the game? And furthermore, why no community notices? No community polls, no notice like, hey, Division agents, we're starting to see some major damage outliers with Heartbreaker and maybe looking into some adjustments. We got nothing until Tuesday, and then blam, there it was. And herein lies my issues with Heartbreaker and ultimately this stealth nerf. It wasn't the implementation. In the grand scheme of the game, it was needed. No, my issue is with the context. There was acknowledgement of this overwhelming strength and then denial of any plans to adjust it. More and more and more acknowledgement of the strength and attributes, and then all of a sudden the bomb drops that Heartbreaker was adjusted. Oh, and FYI, Heartbreaker still operates differently than the tech states or even those public responses indicate. It in fact does not add additional additive damage stacks, as it has remained as multiplicative damage, just damage stacks that do not multiply back against themselves, limiting the multiplicative effect to 100%. Now, communication was the key here, and it was not included in the Heartbreaker plans. And for many community members, it serves as another reminder of how powerful gear comes to the game, is enjoyed for a short while, and then gets hit with a nerf. Is Heartbreaker still the most powerful gear set in the game? Of course it is, and it is still a viable set to run, but the communication and indications of a potential change mattered as much. Scratch that, mattered even more than the actual changes themselves, and for this, the community was completely ignored. Okay, switching gears off of this Heartbreaker discussion, and I know this one's going to amount to a bit of a longish video, but there's been some public statements about me going in too hard on the dev team, and I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of clear this all up. First off, yeah, I may push hard for change, but I'm not disrespectful in the way that I go about it. You can make a strong case without dropping F-bombs all over the place and calling for people's jobs. And in the case for getting a fix for the PC crash epidemic, I truly believe I'm following that professional mantra. Listen, if you tell me something, or if you make a public announcement about it, I'm going to remember it. That's just the kind of memory I have. Now, by you responding publicly, it sends a message to me that you have the information, you have those details, and your statement is to be taken seriously. And for those of you who have no idea what in the hell I'm talking about, I responded to a Division 2 tweet where they were announcing, I think it's the TU 15.1 patch maintenance window, and I asked about getting help with PC crashes. To which I got a response from Daria, our community manager, stating the team is planning to address those in TU 16. Now, my question was posed on May 23rd and responded to on May 24th, but this is not the first time this question was posted publicly or responded to. Way back on April 29th, during the PTS Phase 3 over on Twitter, somewhat_noob asked a question to an official Division 2 post, quote, any updates on fixing the crash Delta issue on PC for the main build of the game? Not talking about the PTS. To which Daria again responded, right now the plan is to address those in TU 16. And further evidence, here is the official Division stream from May the 9th and the crash question being answered again.
And if we're talking about other issues that I won't name here, but I understand probably what this question is about, then those should be addressed in TU 16 because that's something that I already discussed with our live producer, so we're good, we're on that.
Mm-hmm. So what we have here is this consistent message that the PC crash fix update is expected in TU 16, to which I of course have tweeted back is far too long to wait as we just hit TU 15.2. Now the last time I tweeted that this was not an acceptable time to have to wait, Yannick responded to me basically asking where I got this information from. Quote, we are investigating the reports of stability issues. I'm not sure why you're under the impression that we would wait for TU 16 to deploy fixes if we have them. And that's when several people that were following this discussion responded back with the responses stating that TU 16 was the planned PC crash fix update, of course me included. And from there, I've received some crazy DMs about how I need to know my place in the community, and if anything happens to the comm team and them not responding to us in the future, it's all my fault. I've also seen tweets about how I went crazy on the dev team and plenty of other garbage that simply is not true. I'm not some sort of madman that is hell-bent on destroying all that is just and good, but I am concentrated on a major issue affecting many players and their overall enjoyment and stability with this game. I didn't make up the TU 16 PC crash fix deployment date, you just saw it there in text and video form over 3 different examples and over the course of several months, and I'm sure there's other examples existing out there. I felt it was too long to wait, and I respectfully, and I want to stress that word again, respectfully expressed my displeasure with that elongated time frame. Listen, I remember the information I am given. I remember the dates, I remember the responses, and I remember the forum post. Now, if you personally feel that by repeating and publishing public information and also pushing for this matter to be resolved prior to TU 16 is way over the line and makes me a madman, then I respectfully disagree with you. As always, I look forward to reading your feedback on this one. Not a build guide or patch notes review for sure, but I felt it needed to be cleared up. Remember to smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay up to date on all things The Division related. If you could also take a few seconds more to rate and or share this video, it would be greatly appreciated. You can find and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and over on my community Discord server. Links to all my socials in the video description below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.